Hello and welcome to Roboconhelp India lecture on Introduction to Robotics. We have been surrounded by innumerable machines around ourselves, from simple gear trains, which are part of small toys, to huge machines. There are communication towers, which are being used for uh, broadcasts of various television channels, from mobiles and various smartphone devices which are being functioning on them. We have lots of circuits, electronics available around us, which are now a part of various smartphone devices which are coming up in the market. So all in all, we can say that there's a huge inexhaustible list of any number of examples of machines which are being surrounding us. And since we are introducing to the term robotics, we must know what actually a robot is. Now, let's take some examples. Consider this fan. Anybody can say a robot is something which accepts an input and gives an output. Similarly, we can say a fan, it takes an input of a click of a button so that the electric motor starts running, and it just gives an output in the form of wind. We consider this washing machine, it takes an input as clothes and water and detergent and gives an output as cleaned and washed clothes. A projector, we give an input as an image and it will project it out on a large screen, whatever you give as an input. You have various smartphone devices which are coming up, and I think even they are a part of an artificial intelligence softwares which are not so physically seen, but they are available and they are useful in various applications. The best example can be the search engine Google, which has a feature of suggesting search keywords. So now what we understand over here is, if we see that what a robot does, it takes an input and gives an output. All these machines are doing the same. So can we call them as robots? Let's take some more examples. Consider this car. It's a complex system of mechanical, electronics, and control systems. If you consider the hi-fi um, self-controlled cars, like the cars which has automatic transmission, or cars which have inbuilt GPS system, or other inbuilt devices like traction control, the ABS system, a lot of things. So can we call this car as a robot? Maybe yes or no. But before we are able to draw a line where which machines can classify as robots and which machines cannot classify as robots. So we must know what is the definition of a robot. Let's take a look at the definition. So we can say that robot is a mechanical or a virtual artificial agent. Just in case, like our virtual artificial agent can be a good example like the smartphone softwares or the Google search engine. It is an electromechanical system by which its appearance and movements, it shows that it has its own self-control. If you look at this last line, it says that it shows that it has its own self-control. And we look at the previous examples which we had seen, these machines had self-control until a certain extent, because the fan was only dependent on an input of click of a button. Similarly with the washing machine, similarly with a projector, maybe a phone and a Google search engine. So every other machine which is surrounding us is showing a self-control until a certain limit. But then why? The question arises, why are we using the term robots in the recent last few decades? Why was it not known earlier? Or maybe just because we have just opened our eyes towards this new term? And the answer is simple, that all these examples which were shown you earlier, in reality, we can call them as robots, but to a certain extent of self-control. Anybody who wishes to enter into robotics They wish to make a completely self-autonomous machine which can perform all the tasks on its own. Yes, that is the prime, or maybe the beacon where everybody wishes to achieve or reach, but currently we are still in the path and we wish to reach the final destination. So we can say that a robot is a machine which shows certain amount of self-control, and we are to a certain extent already being surrounded by various machines which can be classified as robots, but maybe by a term called low-level robotics. But before we move ahead, we must answer this question: why do we actually need robot? For what reason we need robot? Maybe do they look really cool? Just because once you make a robot and there are a lot of praises and appreciation thrown at you, wow, what a beautiful machine you have made, and you get a lot of praises and name fame, or the extension of that maybe you just want to join a robotics contest, just like National Robocon, where you can show your skills and win some really good name for your institute. Name, fame and glory is easily available there. Or you are an enlightened innovator and you really want to create some socially useful robots. Now when we say about something about socially useful robot, we actually mean robots which are being used or which can be used for the benefit of society or human at large. Take for examples, in the recently concluded National Robocon 2013 theme statement, it was stated that robots would be able to plant trees. And Robocon has been very vibrant and has plays a key role in sensitizing these social issues for students. So over here, you can see that there's a robot which is interacting with plants, and it might be that this has been made to help maintain these plantations, or maybe some protection against some weedicides, or just uh, throw some pesticides in the plants. Just because we are so much engrossed in our own world and we do not have time because of our busy schedules to do these things on our own. More complex objectives can be to understand our own surroundings, just like understanding the biological growth of a normal fish in an underwater environment. For that, we can see that here that we scientists have made one robot fish which is interacting with the real fish, and there lots of interesting data can be obtained here, just like a normal biological growth cycle of a fish, or um, you can say that what is a normal life cycle and how they grow, how they normally believe, and how their ecosystem behaves, how they behave with their ecosystem. So a lot of interesting data can be achieved. Otherwise, robots can also be used in lots of applications where these days it's utmost requirement, because of the natural disasters like volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. There's a lot of human life which is lost, and robots can be used for survival actions. Also, as scientists or innovators, everybody wishes to travel to other planets and explore new ventures. So robots can be a very good example where they can help or assist a human to reach other planets. There are other examples also, just like recently concluded Robocon showed that a robot could be used for certain areas where human expertise is not required, just like repeated jobs. Just like this example, where a robot is used for maybe a forging environment in a factory scenario. Similarly, robots are available in assembly line. And if you look at the glamorous or the more complex area of robots, the recently released movie Transformers had sensitized or fantasized everybody with their um, new concept that cars could transform into robots. There are other applications as well, just like the swarm robotics, where small robots could collaborate and perform a certainly big task much larger than their size or complex in nature just by mutual help or mutual assistance. Telepresence is one area where robots are extensively being used just because recently there's lots of uprising like telepresence and tele-video conferencing or tele-operations where in medical operations doctors need to operate on a patient which is maybe miles of kilometers apart in a different country. So and their robots can also be used in defense applications. Just like this robot is basically for um, detecting bomb disposals, detecting bombs and disposing them of. Human machine interaction is one big area where everybody is focusing these days because it's very interesting to know how humans will interact with robots and how their interaction can be fruitful. So that if we have to create more robots which can assist humans, we must know what actually robots can be capable of. And this one example is that this robot lady is being used for various exhibitions to interact with general mass of public. So these are just few examples where robots can be used. So now as an innovator or as a thinker, one must decide why do actually one need to enter into robotics just because they are cool or you want to join some contest or you really want to build these beautiful machines so that you can help somebody. So to conclude, the question which was raised in this presentation was two questions. One was what is a robot, and the second is why do we actually need a robot? So the answer is you must look inside and decide that why do you really want to enter into robotics? Because the moment you are able to answer this question, your targets will be achieved very quickly and you will be able to reach your destination in time. Thank you for your interest in Roboconhelp India, and we wish to give more such lectures, so we are looking forward for your kind interest and thanks for trusting us.